It's not just a haircut.
It's an experience.
Welcome to Sons of UCF Live.
Good night.
Charge on.
Hello, Night Nation. I'm Trey Strelko. Welcome into the Sons of UCF Live. Adam and Mike, top draft picks in my book. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well, Trace. I've got great news. I've reconfigured my setup. I'm going to guarantee I will not freeze tonight.
Ooh. Wow. That's a bold statement.
Guarantee.
You trusting the internet?
I'm trusting what I've worked out here. The amount of wires I now have connected should be somewhat criminal in a few states. Guarantee off the top.
Wow. And Trace's alarm's not going to go off at 9 o'clock either, huh?
No, we've got that fixed. But will you clear your throat? That remains to be seen.
That's me?
Yeah, it could be you.
All right, Lauren, hold on. Lauren, if I freeze, you get a hat. I know you wanted a hat. You're talking hats. If I freeze tonight, I need audience to judge because I may do that at times. That's not a freeze. So if I freeze, Lauren, a hat coming your way.
Right.
You can't respond, so we can move on.
You guys were talking on your show earlier this week. I like that category. Mike, if you had $25 million, what would you do with it? Mike spent that pretty quickly on coaches. Orlando Business Journal reporting that UCF has opened the bid for architects for all of its various projects. Those bids due in by July 8th. And the article listed some of the price tags, some of what we knew. Lazy River, $5.81 million. Mike, how would that figure in to your allotment? Would you spend some money on the Lazy River?
It's been talked about for so many years now. I feel like we already have it. It's just, I don't think it's necessary, right? If we have the extra money to do it, go ahead. But like I said on the podcast this week, there's a lot of things we need to get in order. I mean, going into the Big 12, we're going to have to start raising the competition. We need to make sure the good coaches stay here, and we got to get the good players here with NIL deals. So the Lazy River is kind of last on my list.
So if we don't have the Lazy River, we don't need to relocate the practice fields for $4.74 million. So Adam, what do you like? Wayne Dench renovation, $20.26 million. North seating concourse, $29.76 million, or South Tower, $60.1 million. A lot of steel there.
I just like the exact amounts, $20.26 million. Like, are we really adding these things up? I mean, is it like, hey, throw in another bucket of nails? That's $100. Like, I like the exact amounts we have here. Man, I think Wayne Dench renovation helps, the football program, and it helps the players in general. I guess I don't understand it. And Trace, maybe you can educate me. South Tower, what exactly does that include?
I'm not sure what all it includes.
Yeah, I'd like to know
more
about
the new tower on the south side. Are you supposed to ask Mike that question? Aren't we supposed to hit Mike with? I didn't read all. No,
I asked Mike for top 5 mayonnaise brands. I need from you the actual best towers out there.
Behind the scenes, 5 till the start of the show, we were talking about what? Top 5 washing machine brands?
Dry washer dryer, yeah.
Washer dryers.
Kraft, yeah. Dukes. Yeah, that's about
Hellman's would like a word.
You know what's funny? I only really know about Duke's mayo because of that dumb bowl game where they dumped the mayonnaise on the coaches.
That's one branding that really that whatever that money spent was well spent by Duke's mayo. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they did a good job with that. Now I don't know. I'd seen that article at some point, but I'm not sure now what was in that South Tower.
Yeah, I think the Wayne Dench renovation obviously supports the entire football program, right? I assume there's some new facilities that would come with that, maybe a weight facility of some sort, maybe some sort of a whirlpool, something I think that maybe helps the greater good of the team there. So I'll go Wayne Dench for, what is that, $20.26 million. That gives Mike $5 million left of his $25 million. So.
Also, Athletics Hall of Fame, a lot of talk about that in light of the guest list at Mackenzie Milton's Mission Control event last Friday. Nominations open. You think there'd ever be opportunity for, you guys to be considered, best podcast hosts and that sort of thing one day in the Hall of Fame?
You want to take this one, Mike?
How long is it going to have to take? I mean, for guys that don't actually play a sport to get into the Hall of Fame, you got to be around the program for at least, I think, 20 years, right? You got to put in a lot of time. You're talking about somebody like one day, maybe Mark Daniels gets in, right? And we've seen Manny get in, big time supporter of the program.
Brandon Hellwig, you'd think maybe down the line he'd get in?
He's been around for forever. He goes back at least 20 years now. So we just started, man. We're going to go into season 5. So I think we got a long ways to go, but I think we're on the right track so far.
True story, Trace. Tuesday, 11:57 a.m. I texted Mike and said, "Should we nominate ourselves?" It's a true story, and he actually told me no, that we should not nominate ourselves. He was anti Sons of UCF nomination. But if you can nominate somebody, Trace, do you have a name that you think is a glaring omission of somebody who, I know there's criteria. So I know Gene McDowell's name comes up a lot. I know there's some criteria there. I know there's a groundswell of support to relook at that and see what makes sense there. So Trace, if you can nominate somebody, who would you go with?
Am I allowed to do this since you banned me from Instagram for voting for myself in the Mount,
you violated
Sunsmore?
the Mount Sunsmore rules. I can't help you there. I mean, that's your own choosing. You pay your own penalty there.
Well, where were the rules on this? I missed
They're all up here.
the notation.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know. I haven't started to think about the nominees. Honestly, I think the Gene McDowell discussion is an interesting one, of course, posthumously. I'm curious about the discussions in that room about a Jay Bergman and the contributions he made to baseball. Certainly doesn't have a felony attached to him as Gene McDowell does, but I'd say a Kirk Spearraw as well for the contributions he made to basketball, and he's been away from the program for a while now, so he'd certainly be eligible.
I was going to go with a guy that we learned recently was not in the Hall of Fame. I'll go with Elton Patterson. I thought he actually was already a Hall of Famer. I think he may be somebody I'd love to see considered for this year's Hall of Fame.
What's the waiting period? Is it like 5 years?
I think it's 7 years. 7 years.
So we got to go back to about 2015 before that.
So nominate the Suns in 2 more years is basically what you're saying.
No, I think we have to do this for like another 20 years and then take like a 5-year break, and then after that they can induct us once we're retired.
What do you think the odds are we'll be doing this in 20 years if I say on June 23 that 24/7 Sports has its bowl prediction out and has UCF Western Kentucky in the Armed Forces Bowl? Mike, break that matchup down for us.
You are the problem. You are the reason people keep posting these articles, because you keep taking them and retweeting them and messaging them, engaging with them. How is that? People don't even put us in bowls that we're eligible for sometimes, against teams, conferences that don't even belong in those bowls. But guys like Trace Trocco can go there and click on it and then forward me on the tweet. I'm sick of let's play a game first.
I'm a scourge on society, am I?
I mean, you're the reason they keep putting them out.
Okay, we've identified that I am the problem. Asked on Twitter this week, my Twitter @SignPez, grade UCF's football secondary coming out of spring camp. Interesting, a lot of grading of these positions week in and week out. Offensive line, defensive line, now the secondary a B. I thought this would be the part on the defense that might get an A.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, early in the season, I think we had some challenges early on. I think they really solidified. For me, that secondary really kind of came into form when Justin Hodges moved into more of a regular role back there. I think that's when you saw that unit really kind of click and move forward. So, I mean, early season, I mean, they were good. I think they really took off towards that latter half. So I guess like if some fans wanted to grade the first 3-4 games, perhaps that's where you knock them down to a B. But again, I think Justin Hodges really turned that secondary around, was a huge asset in that new role that T. Will created. So I think the future arrow is pointing up based on the talent we're bringing back, the talent we brought in. So maybe coming out of spring camp, maybe you just want to see that talent gel together, because the other challenge is there's so many names. I usually have a graphic with all the returnee. I just not enough room this week for the graphic. So here's some of the key names that are coming back. I mean, there's a lot of talent. How do you make all this talent fit in and work?
A lot of depth.
Yeah, and these guys are growing together, right? They came in very young, inexperienced last couple of years, and you saw them really turn the corner halfway through the year last year. I expect them to make a big leap. Usually, like guys going into their junior years, that's when you really getting comfortable with the system. They all been playing together now for a little time, so I expect them to be better this year than they were last year. Hopefully, we get an A out of them.
We turn to linebackers and special teams next week. I saved those 2 categories for last in this, and I imagine that maybe I don't need to post an A as an option. I don't know how those categories are going to fare. A couple of fan favorites who will be back in Orlando doing some good work over the next week join us now on the Sons of UCF Live. Anthony Roberson, you know him, and a surprise guest, Jordan Johnson, as well. We've got 2 guys. Adam, make a note. The one booking now is 2 Welcome into the Sons of UCF Live, guys.
What's going on? Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Jordan, can we retitle this segment though? Behind Enemy Lines, as you're now over at Cincinnati. Could we get a little scoop on the Bearcats this summer?
Just know that all is well. Everything is going good. Everything is good. No complaints over here.
So coy. Is it challenging to be in that environment? Of course, being a Knight.
I mean, there's ups and downs that comes with it, but I'm just excited about getting the experience for sure.
All right, Anthony, I'll take this one for you. Obviously, you and Jordan have both obviously moved off to other passions in life, other things outside of Orlando and UCF, yet you still come back each year and put on One Kid Orlando. Why is that important for you to continue to come back to the Orlando community and still put on an event such as this?
It's extremely important considering this city took on two 18-year-olds and were able to kind of shape us into men. You know, I said that in the past interview, and I mean it today. You know, it was a big step in our lives that Orlando accepted us as a community, and it was bigger than football. And they made it sure that we knew that it was bigger than football, and we want to share that same kind of love with the kids that are actually in that community. So it's a purpose to come back. We need to come back, and we're probably not gonna stop coming back neither.
Jordan, I see every day this week you guys have a different activity planned, different place to be. Kind of break down what's going on this week, and then for each of you, which event are you looking forward to the most?
Forward to the field, because that's my biggest part is like having fun with the kids, just running around, having a good time. So we're gonna have a good amount of things going on. We're gonna have a partial proceeds at Burger U. We're also going to have a trash pickup day. Just trying to encourage people to get out and go make the area around them better. Get into the habit of making wherever you go better. On Wednesday, we're going to have a question panel. We're calling it the Boys to Men question panel. Just reaching out to some young men, helping them understand what it's like to be a man. On Thursday, we are going to have the bowling fundraiser, as well as hopefully a winter park boat tour. And then we're going to finish it off with the field day that I was talking about that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I'm personally looking forward to the nature event. I think, of course, juiced up field day is going to be lit, but I believe these inner city youth that we are taking out to be a part of nature and see God's artistry on firsthand, and plant seeds of how important it is to protect and serve the environment. And I think being able to provide that outlet for these kids who might not get that that resource otherwise is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
During your playing days, did you appreciate the fact that you were a role model to kids?
Oh yeah, we realized early that these kids took to us, and a lot of them took to us just because we played a sport. And you can be the cool guy, and you can use that influence to do whatever you want. But we wanted to use that influence to like get these kids to understand how you can get influence and how you can make a difference within your community as well. So 100%. And that platform has lived with us today, and we plan to use it forever.
Jordan, obviously an event. Yeah, go ahead, Jordan. You're good.
No, go ahead. You got it. What were you about to say?
Well, so event like this, obviously we see the schedule, but this doesn't come together overnight. This probably takes so much planning, a lot of things behind the scenes. Take us a little bit behind the journey. How far in advance do you all start playing this out? How much time and effort does it take for you to get to the point where you're able to put something like this on?
Just a huge shout out to our board of directors, Anthony's mom, Ms. Roberson. She's amazing. Tiffany and Andrea, his sisters, they're both amazing. They've been huge parts of planning this whole event, this whole week of our first annual One Kid Orlando week. And it's just been a lot of fun having the experience of planning all of this and helping everybody understand that it's about the kids, and it's always about the kids. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Anthony, what you got to say?
What he said. My parents.
Anthony,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to ask. There's a lot of people maybe not in the Orlando area. Myself, I'm 3 hours away. A lot of UCF fans around the state. If they're not able to make it to one of these events this week, how can they still help out?
3 hours, they ain't nothing but a road trip. Come on, man. But yeah, we any donation that you guys provide will go toward ensuring that a kid that we get to touch in the holiday season can get a gift. So we have our donation link on the PayPal. Most importantly, resources. Whatever resources you can provide and whatever resource we can provide in exchange is more important, because that's what community is all about. We want to be able to lend a helping hand and receive a helping hand right back and lift each other up as a community, because that's what we need right now. We need community. It's a lot of things to be pessimistic about in today's culture, and that's more of a reason to rely on the people who live to the right and to the left of you.
What's the feedback and the reaction you've heard from Night Nation when the events were announced?
Night Nation ready to rock and roll. Night Nation is ready to rock and roll. I mean, we've heard so much from local businesses and local organizations that want to partner, and local fans and community members that want to volunteer. So Night Nation is really showing out, and we can't thank Night Nation enough.
Yeah, man. Huge shout out to the whole Orlando community. Everybody's just looking out, and people want to help. And that's the biggest thing, is that you just got to know, we got to be direct about what we're asking, because people genuinely want to help. So we appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
What's the response like from your former teammates? Any of your former teammates kind of pitching in and swinging by to help out? Any night football alums that are going to be a part of this event with you all?
We reached out to a couple of different guys. We're just kind of hopeful to see who we put it out there, to see whoever wants to be a part of it, and we'll see. We put the flyers out there. We reached out to the guys. I don't know exactly who will be there for sure, but I'm hopeful that any and everybody who wants to be a part of something special can join us.
Getting into football for a second, we're about to join the Big 12. I'm sure when you guys were being recruited, we were probably talking to you guys about, hey, one day we're going to be in a P5 conference. How cool is it now to see finally we're a year away for UCF entering the Big 12?
I remember when I was getting recruited, that was one of the biggest recruiting pitches, is that we were going to be in the Big 12 by the time I was there. And unfortunately, it didn't happen while I was a player, but I'm excited to see that schools that have been putting in work in the group of five have the opportunity to go compete in the Power Five.
And we were part of even before us, the tradition and the stage was being set for these guys to now step on, and they're about to step all over it. So I'm excited.
I don't know if you guys saw that. Jan Garcia said that she's picking up 100 backpacks for One Kid Orlando Week coming up. So that's good of Jan to do. Jordan,
Jan is also a board member, and we love her so much, and she's amazing, and family as well. So thank you so much.
Jordan, on that Big 12 question, what's the reaction like in Cincinnati?
Everybody's excited. Everybody's ready to embark on a new endeavor, and things are looking up for sure.
Well, Jordan, catch us up with what's new with you. I know you were out in LA attending some film school. I've seen on social media you've got some pictures up of some work you're doing. Are you able to share anything about what you're working on now as you've kind of embark on your post football life?
Anthony?
I'm in film school right now. I'm going into my second semester of grad school at the University of Central Florida, and I'm soaking all the information I can up. The transition has been almost seamless because of the hustle that it requires to be a student athlete, plus the ability to be a team player and put your ego aside and do everything for somebody's vision. So the transition has been pretty smooth, and I'm just picking up on everything that I can and trying to get my hands on as many sets as possible, and Actually, I got the opportunity to be a second assistant director on a feature film in July, right after we finished One Kid Week. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I don't take any moment on set for granted. I can't wait to share with you guys what is to come, because a lot's going to come. I believe it.
I've always wondered this myself. I've never been out to California. You've been out there now. You spent some time. California girls, Florida girls. What's your preference?
The books. That's the preference. That's the preference. You trying to get me in trouble, man. I'm gonna have to drive 3 hours when I get back in Orlando. I'll let you know.
More trouble in this question. What's your prediction, guys? Each of you. We'll start with you, Anthony. Give you some time to think on it, Jordan. Cincinnati at UCF in the bounce house this year.
Blowout. That's it. Blowout. UCF.
Marker down, Jordan.
I plead the fifth.
We have a mold, my friends.
Well, Jordan, we've seen on videos for you as well. You've been doing some stuff on YouTube. Coach J Fitness. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing, kind of outside of football with your fitness stuff and some of your motivational speaking stuff.
My biggest thing is that I just care about people. You know, I one of my biggest passions is just that I care about helping others. So whatever I can do as a coach, I feel like I can also use my platform to just motivate everyday person and not just student athletes. So whatever I can do to help. I think that a lot of people support me just because they know that I want to support others. So we keep this cycle of support going. And we just keep supporting each other. That's what I'm passionate about.
Jordan, when you were here, we threw the ball a lot, right? It was very fast-paced offense. Now with the Malzahn offense, a lot more power run game. What would be your preference? I mean, did you like the way we did it back then, or would you prefer to just beat somebody down, running the ball down their throat?
I mean, I think that having a balanced offense is important, and balance doesn't mean 300 yards and 300 passing. I think taking what the defense. So if it's the defense that's weak in the pass game, we're running it up, throwing it. Or if it's a team that struggles in the run game, being a balanced offense, you can be able to attack whatever you're not good at.
All right, Anthony, let's wrap it up now. One more promotion now for One Kid. Where can folks find more information on the upcoming events and how they might be able to participate or help?
www.onekidorlando.com. There's mad information on there. One Kid Orlando, the Facebook page, even more information where you'll get to see the flyer, the times, the locations, the dates, all that good stuff like that. Follow us on Instagram at ARob Films and at Third Johnson Boy. We'll be posting stuff all weekend. If you can't make it, look for updates because we're going to be updating the updaters. So be on the lookout for that. And then where else can you go for information? You guys, because you guys are the source for all things good in UCF.
Cut that up as a promo, Adam. That was pretty good right there. Anthony Roberson, Jordan Johnson, thanks for what you're doing through One Kid Orlando, and thanks for being with us on the Sons of UCF Live. And then Jordan, offline, if you let us know a little bit more about Cincinnati in advance of the game, we'd appreciate that.
I can't make no promises.
We'll give you a break. Thanks, guys. It's good to see they're still connected to Central Florida and the UCF community.
Yeah, just the way they talk about, wanting to give back, wanting to help, recognizing that they have a platform, that they've been, they've had opportunities to be a part of some things, and they want to give back and continue to live that message. Again, it'd be super easy. They left town. I mean, they've moved on to their lives. They're adults. They have jobs now. It'd be really easy for them to walk away and say, hey, okay, that was cool. It was college, but I'm moving on. And the fact that they keep doing this and they're committing to doing it over and over and over again just shows you how much these guys care about the community, the things that they've learned and just how much they want to give back. And I think that's really cool to see. And I'm proud to share a degree name with those two because I think they represent the best of UCF.
Most people only do community service because they have to, right? You have to do a certain amount of hours in high school to go to college. Sometimes you get sentenced to community service. But
Mike, do you want to tell us anything on that latter one?
No, it wasn't me. But these guys do it out of the goodness of their heart.
Top 5 times you served community service for an arrest, Mike.
0. But yeah, they do it out of the goodness of their heart. They're great kids, and they're consistent with it, and they have nothing but good intentions behind them, and they're knights. So, and these guys are once knight, always a knight. There's no question about these two.
Well, it's not like they don't have anything else going on too, right? I mean, they're both starting on their professional careers. Obviously, Jordan's, going through the coaching ranks and is now with Cincinnati as an assistant. And Anthony talked about, obviously, he's going to have a great opportunity coming up soon and more to come after that. So it isn't like they're not busy with something, right? They've got their lives, they've got careers. They're definitely thinking about the future. But I think it's just great they haven't lost touch with, what UCF and Orlando means to them.
One of the messages you played on the screen from Jan about the 100 backpacks for the event next week. Jan serves on their board. She's also started a nonprofit called Brits Bunch, and Brits Bunch and the Sam Jackson Foundation were instrumental in the event last week at Arnold Palmer Hospital on Sickle Cell Anemia Awareness Day. Opportunity today, this afternoon, in Orange County Dependency Court. Brits Bunch, in collaboration with UCF Football, they brought in several players for an adoption ceremony. You see number 34 there, the young man, 10-year-old Dylan, adopted by UCF alum Sierra McClintock. She has an education major at UCF. She's in St. Cloud, and several UCF football players on hand. Ryan O'Keefe was there, Tyler Paul, Mikey Keene, Sam Jackson, Austin Camden, Trillian Coles, Anthony Montalvo, Coach Lee as well. And you may remember from the Our Time documentary that featured Ryan O'Keefe and his parents. Ryan was adopted, and I had opportunity to speak with him on how he feels this bond with Dylan, having seen this adoption process in court today.
It's an amazing thing, really, just somebody else taking you in and just loving you just like you're on their own. Dylan, I feel like Dylan's going to be the next night for me.
The next night. I like that. Running back, he does Pop Warner football, and he was all smiles today. He really wanted to meet some football players, and Jan reached out to Coach Lee and some others and helped bring those players. They all came on their own time. They all wanted to be there for Dylan.
Yeah, really cool to see. And right after the show, 9 p.m., if you go to our Facebook page, we're going to release the video. Trace had a more extended conversation with Ryan O'Keefe to get his thoughts on the event. And then obviously Trace caught up with the Happy family and got their perspective as well. And you'll see some footage of some of the guys walking around and just being a part of the event. So 9 p.m. on our Facebook or on our YouTube page, excuse me, a little bit different, a little different style of content for us here. But I think it's such an important thing. And these are so many events, Trace. It feels like every week we're hearing more and more about our guys going someplace and being a part of the community. And I think that's one thing you hear coaches always say is they want to bring young men in here and make them a fabric of the community. A lot of people just talk that talk. UCF clearly walks the walk, and today's event's just another example of the good that happens in the community. And I think you said the perfect thing best. This was volunteer. They didn't have to go, right? And they all decided they wanted to go down there, and it wasn't just one or two. It was a caravan of them going down there. And leaders of the team, guys that you've heard of, guys you haven't heard of. I think it's important to understand how much these guys want to be a part of the community.
Just when I'm ready to give up on UCF fans because of the way they treat each other on the internet, fighting on Twitter over a top 5 quarterback list, you got to have a story like this about the good people in this community, the good people that follow this team. Jan and Britt have been fantastic. A lot of people do a lot of things for them, but they give back and they do a lot more for everybody else. I love everything about this whole story. I wish there was more of this stuff instead of the silliness that goes on sometimes among ourselves.
Well, in fairness, Jan and Britt aren't the ones poking at each other on Twitter. They're usually pretty positive on Twitter. Now, where do you fall in this? Because I saw you giving some elbows in this quarterback Mount Sunsmore that was posted earlier this week.
You saw my list. That's exactly where I fall. That's my list.
You defended your list.
I agree with you.
What I liked and what Night Nation seemed to like is that some of the provocateurs of other podcasts jumped on the Suns feed and started duking it out for a couple of hours.
I just want to point out, it's called Mount Sunsmore. It's not Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore has 4. Mount Sunsmore has 5. That joke clearly didn't land as well as we thought it would. Our apologies for that, but we're too deep into it, and I'm not redoing that graphic. It took me like all weekend. So Mount Sunsmore will continue to have 5 on it, and the rest of you can just deal with it.
going back, I don't know how far back in the shows, when we used to do the top list, it used to be 8, right? Used to do top 8s, and it was in honor of Dante, right? We didn't want to do 10. That was too much. 5 didn't seem like enough. Now we're doing 5 because we're getting lazy and people are still giving us crap. I guess because we're not lazy enough, we should only do 4.
And as we know, based on Sun's math, 5 is more than 4. Maybe we'll double it and do 6. No, that's just another joke off the top of your podcast. So watch YouTube, Sun's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. More from Ryan O'Keefe and Dylan's mom and that really heartwarming event today in Orange County. You may have seen and you heard from Terry Mohajir a couple weeks ago when he was saying there'd be a 9-game schedule. BYU's AD confirmed what Timo recently said. 9-game schedule in 2023. We get asked about that coming up in our mailbag questions. Last week, we debuted Meet the Big 12, bringing on guests. We had the podcast host who covers Texas Tech. And this week, we bring in David Potter, managing editor, Rock Chalk Talk, covers Kansas for SB Nation. David, thanks for hopping on with us at the Sons of UCF Live.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, now we don't want to talk about basketball. You guys may be a little good in that. We want to talk about football, and I'll be fair here. Where do you think the football program is right now at Kansas? Do you see some light at the end of the tunnel?
I do. As a Kansas football fan, you learn to be a little cautious in any optimism you start to feel. But last year did feel a little different from some other, we've had some seasons where we won a few games here and there in the last decade, but last season felt a little different in that, down the stretch we started to, the games were actually close, were competitive. I mean, that it's sad to say that as though it's an accomplishment, but when you're used to losing a lot of games by 5 touchdowns, coming within 12 points against Oklahoma, going on the road and beating Texas, where we only lost by a field goal against TCU. I think the games were actually competitive on a week-to-week basis last year. And I think Leipold has a pretty good track record of taking over at places where it's not necessarily the easiest to win, but he finds ways to get the right guys for his system, adapt the system to what he's got, and put the team in a position to win. So I would say guarded optimism, cautious optimism, but I do think there's some reason to think that things are getting better.
David, from the Kansas perspective, what's the feeling about adding UCF and Cincinnati, BYU, Houston? What are the fans kind of saying about those 4 schools collectively, and what do you think they bring to the new Big 12?
I mean, I think it's about as good as we could have hoped for, given that we're losing 2 of the biggest name schools in the conference in Oklahoma and Texas. I don't know that you can say that it's going to be just as good as before, but Cincinnati made the playoff this year. UCF had an undefeated season just a few years ago. It's not like we raided the Sun Belt and just grabbed the first few programs that would say yes. So these are legitimate schools with success on both in football and in basketball. So I think I think if you ask any fan of the smaller schools in the Big 12 like KU, Iowa State, Kansas State, none of them are probably going to express a whole lot of confidence in the Big 12 just because of how many shakeups we've seen. But I feel like we're going to stay a power conference with you guys joining us. It's just going to look a little different, but I think once people get used to it, it's still going to be viewed as a Power 5 conference, for as long as the Power 5 exists, depending on how things go forward.
I think it's safe to assume the next few years we'll get the better of you guys in football. You guys are going to beat the heck out of us in basketball. Those kind of even out. So what other sports are you guys good at? What are you not so good at? What should we be prepared for in other sports?
The volleyball program has been very strong in recent years. The women's soccer, we only have a women's soccer team. There's no men's soccer, but they've had success here and there. Baseball and softball, unfortunately, have not gone real well. In fact, our longtime baseball coach Rich Price just retired. Maybe it might have been suggested that he retire because he was coming off a pretty poor season. We lost, I want to say it was 30-3 to TCU at one point this year. So baseball has had a few ups, but it's mostly been downs, and I think that's something that they're really trying to get straightened out. But volleyball, women's basketball did make the tournament this past year, so there's some hope that that's kind of turning around. But especially compared to the men's program, it's really been lagging behind. That the coach Schneider has been kind of on the hot seat off and on quite a bit. But they did make the tournament last year, had a pretty good season, so hopefully they can build on that.
What are the pros and cons of a 9-game football schedule from your perspective?
For a school like Kansas, it's going to be mostly cons because we're at a point where we're just trying to get into a bowl game. That's kind of the next step for this program to feel like it's headed in the right direction. And if you've got 9 games on your schedule against conference opponents, that's just fewer opportunities to get an extra, team from the MAC or something like that in there that's more likely to be a win. So I mean, just in theory, I don't have any issue playing 9 games instead of 8, but just in terms of being able to schedule yourself to maybe an extra win or 2, I think it hurts Kansas a little bit in that way.
One of the things I'm looking forward to is getting to some of these schools and getting to experience some of their traditions. Obviously, Mike mentioned it off the top. Kansas, obviously, really well known for basketball. Fog Allen is a legendary arena. Take me inside. What's game day like for Kansas basketball? Is there tailgating going on? What's the crowd atmosphere like? Give me a little sneak peek of what I might expect if I'm able to get tickets to go see a game there.
Yeah, not a lot of tailgating for basketball. I know you guys are maybe used to being in Florida in the winter. Kansas winters are not real conducive to tailgating, so there's more of a tailgating scene when it comes to football. Basketball game day, I mean, it's just, it's hard to explain. And especially without sounding arrogant, but I mean, it's one of the premier basketball stadiums in all of college basketball, and you can just kind of feel that walking in. No matter who they're playing, it's loud. It's the fans are into it from beginning to end, and there's just there's so much energy in that stadium. Just waiting for just a big 3 or a dunk, and just the lid comes off and everyone goes crazy. So unfortunately, winters in Kansas, it's a little rough to try and do a whole lot outside before the game, but once you get in, it really is an incredible experience.
Well, tell us a little bit on the city of Lawrence itself. I guess I'm not going to go in a game in November, but if there's a September game and the weather's not too bad, what else is there to do around there?
There are, it's a college town. There's no shortage of bars and breweries. I'd say the 2 best local ones are Free State Brewery on Massachusetts Street, which is the old downtown of Lawrence. It's where it's where a lot of the venues, music venues, bars, things like that are located. And then there's also 23rd Street Brewery, which is in another section of town, a little more of a suburban area. But those are both really good. I mean, really, you can just go to it. Everyone calls it Mass Street, but it's Massachusetts Street, and that downtown area. And I mean, there's never any shortage of people watching, and just things going on. You never know exactly what you're going to see down there. It's also can be kind of more the artsy area of town. So if you go down there on any given day, especially on a weekend, you're likely to see something interesting.
Flying into Kansas City, how far a drive to Lawrence?
It's about it'd take about 45 minutes. I'm trying to think down maybe a little more than that. I don't know that I've flown in and gone directly to Lawrence, but just the city of Kansas City, the bulk of the city is only about a 45-minute drive. So Lawrence really isn't too far out.
And then how far are you from Kansas State?
K-State's about another hour down west on I-70. So it's about one more hour to get to Manhattan.
David, any cool traditions that the Kansas sports programs have? Anything of note that UCF fans should take heed to?
I mean, nothing. There aren't a whole lot in terms of pregame traditions. There have been some, and when the team's been better with football, but nowadays they're just a lot of times there aren't a whole lot of people in the stands. But when football is going well, and when even those early games when the weather's still really nice in September, there is a large parking lot right outside the stadium where even if you're not able to park there, you don't have a parking pass. There are always tons of people tailgating. So that's a lot of fun. And then I mean, there are a lot of little things that go on during basketball games. Of course, the rock chalk chant, things like that. But not any really big historical traditions, unfortunately, I would say.
Dave, we have a question from one of our listeners. He has a roommate that went to KU, and he still doesn't know what rock chalk is. Can you explain what rock chalk is, how that came to be, what that means?
Yeah, so my understanding is it comes from the limestone formations that are around, especially the Kansas River, right near Lawrence. I don't think anyone's exactly sure why that was chosen as the school's catchphrase, but it just kind of caught on. But yeah, my understanding is that its roots are in the limestone formations, and limestone can be used to make chalk. And I think at some point a professor back in the 1800s kind of put all that together, and it's been a chant ever since.
I think they were just trying to find something that rhymed with Jayhawk. Sounds like.
That might have been part of it, yeah.
So you've had the chance maybe to go visit some of these other Big 12 schools. Give us a place that you've enjoyed, and tell us what place we don't really want to go to.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a lot of people who really love Ames, where Iowa State plays. And from the people I've actually spoken to who I know who are from Lubbock or went to Texas Tech, even they are a little hard pressed to find compliments for Lubbock. With Ames, it's just kind of an older town. It's not that far from Des Moines, so you're not too far from a real city, but it's just not. I guess just not the nicest college town I've been to. But I think I'd say an underrated place is probably Norman. I mean, obviously now Oklahoma is leaving the conference, so I guess you won't be there. Norman and Stillwater, where Oklahoma State plays, are both nice places that have some decent barbecue, some good hangout spots. So Yeah, Oklahoma, I guess, is leaving, but Stillwater, I would say, is a little underrated as far as college towns in the Big 12 go.
And David, on last week's show, the Texas Tech guest told us about Prairie Dog Park. So there are things to do in Lubbock. We appreciate you stopping by, giving us a little information on Kansas. We know you're going to be fierce in basketball, and we do look forward to mixing it up with you in football and the other sports. David Potter, managing editor, Rock Chalk Talk, at Rock Chalk Talk on Twitter. Thanks for stopping by Suns Live.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
All right, Mike, did he sell it? He didn't mention crime, so that may be a positive.
No, and a 45-minute drive to, where the actual city, like the way he put it, to Kansas City would be cool. I mean, especially if there's a Chiefs game or maybe the Yankees Royals in town, maybe. Who knows? Maybe they'll line up one day. You can convince me to go into Kansas. I think I can have fun there. Better than Lubbock.
He wasn't big on Ames. He said it was near a bigger city of Des Moines. It's going to be an interesting journey through these Big 12
Trace,
cities.
I've decided if I'm ever suffering from insomnia, well, I'll go with Kansas because there was nothing about his explanation that had me. Maybe it's a rock. We're not really sure. Yeah, we don't really have any traditions. Yeah. I mean, there's no tailgate. What are we doing in Kansas?
Though.
My goodness.
I mean, basketball is going to be a murderer's row week in and week out.
We're going to get murdered every week. Is the murder?
But that would be, I saw Lauren's comment, that would be a cool environment to go to.
Yeah, I'd love to experience it just to say I experienced it, right? I mean, we're going to lose by 50. So, I mean, I'll go in with super low expectations, but I'd love to experience it just to experience the atmosphere. It is one of the hallowed grounds of college basketball. So it would be good to cross it off from a bucket list standpoint. But after that, I'm getting the hell out of Kansas because it doesn't seem like a whole lot going on there.
You know how you need to experience it? Maybe we play them in football one weekend and they're playing like Houston in basketball. Then you get the experience and you don't get your ass kicked in basketball at the same time.
Yeah, remember though, conference play may not have started overlapping with football. So, yeah.
Don't ruin my scenario, Trace.
That may be a problem. Well, I'm just trying to ruin I'm just trying to be a scourge on society.
Hold on. Yeah, I still have that.
Yeah, you are
there you go.
You are the problem. Armed Forces Bowl, Mike. Book it. UCF 24/7 Sports. Let's go around the kingdom. Good news. The extra innings softball coach of the year, softball head coach Cindy Boblone, contract extended through 2027. Timo putting pen to paper there, signing the check, keeping Coach Bear. Men's soccer officially now going to be in Sunbelt. You heard just from David, no Kansas in men's soccer, no men's soccer in the Big 12. So UCF joining the Sunbelt. They released their schedule today. Tough one off the top at Wake Forest, easier to say there. August 25th, and home opener, North Florida on August 29th. Perfect scores in the academic rankings for cross-country golf. Volleyball 1,000, football with the 984, best in the state of Florida. And I like to check in with Mike. Does this count as once a night, always a night? Men's basketball is Dre Fuller in that portal over to FAU.
I mean, no. I mean, it was nice that he was here. I don't know. I don't have any ill will towards him, but it's not always a night. Right now, he's an owl. So once a night, I'm an owl now. And then when I'm done, I guess I'll be considered an owl night.
Is Jordan Johnson once a night, always a night if he's employed by Cincinnati?
Oh, that's a tough one. But he is the mole. We're not supposed to reveal too much. He's doing our work in there. Don't worry about it. I have a good feeling about
this. He's getting a paycheck, though. So he's getting it's a career. It's a job.
Rick Fuller may be, too. Those NIL deals at FAU.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe Las Espadas has ponied up for a couple of bucks. Great subs, by the way, if you're in Boca.
Let's fire up the music. Fire up the mailbag. We got a walk and talk?
Well, we'll do walk and talk first, music after that. I got a lot of buttons to hit today, so there's a lot going on here. So we have one walk and talk from a not a first timer, I guess.
Hey, Night Nation, 2 letters, 2 words here, coming to you from the Smoke Shack with a question. When UCF leaves the American, I wonder if there's something that people will miss. Will it be playing a particular team, visiting a particular city? What do you think?
He's where? Where is he? He's in the Smoke Shack?
He's at the Smoke Shack, Trace. Come on.
That's good. I like that.
It's near Kansas, apparently.
I'm going to miss Mike Oresco until he becomes commissioner of the Big 12.
I'm going to miss kicking the cow's ass in every sport we can.
Talking to all these guys from the Big 12 now, the cities that we have to travel to. I'm going to miss these big cities.
Yeah.
Right now, we're being spoiled. New Orleans, Philadelphia, Tampa.
No crime problems there. There's no crime in Philly,
cities.
or Memphis, or New Orleans, Mike.
Yes, but there's actually, sometimes crime can be entertaining. If it's not too serious, you see something happen on the street, people take out their phones all the time and videotape crime.
What do you think the odds are that we get a selfie together at Prairie Dog Park in Lubbock? You think that ever happens?
No,
Listen,
I'm never going to Lubbock.
Mike's going to go to Lubbock. We were on another Texas Tech podcast this week, and they low-key sold a little bit. They named a hotel. I looked it up. It was 4 stars. So there's some regional.
Was it 4 stars or was it called the 4-Star Hotel?
No, great question. No, I forget the name of the hotel. So there are some options there. I mean, reasonable accommodations. I think Mike's going to go to Lubbock. Book it right now. Yeah. Mike to Lubbock.
Lubbock, Ames, Stillwater, all 3 out. Maybe Fort Worth, maybe.
Hoping to continue our Meet the Big 12 series next week. Fire up the music. What's the music this week? What's the musical selection? Can we make requests?
Back to the traditional. It's been a lot of buttons to hit today. My air conditioning broke in my house. I'm sweating my ass off here, so we're gonna go traditional.
That sounds like something Mike would reveal from his garage studio.
You can't see me glistening as I sit here under this hot heat lamp here. Continue.
Speaking, by the way, you were on that Texas Tech podcast, and then the clip they showed was like this extreme close-up of you.
I was like, hey, look, if you want to get ratings that badly, just let us know next time. Mike wouldn't have worn a shirt. I don't know what you need from us, for crying out loud.
I thought the standard protocol was Mike didn't wear a shirt unless asked by the hosts of another show.
Fun fact. So we booked ourselves for 8:30, right? I log in at 8:27. Mike's smiling face already in studio waiting to go. And he told the host, he said, I'm never early for these things.
I'm lucky I was early because I had to download a whole other app just to get in that thing. So actually worked out.
At Todd A. Bryant, should we be concerned about the 2 recruits decommitting this week, or is it just the nature of college football these days? It's a lot of doom in Night Nation with these decommits.
There's reasons for everything, right? I think the Florida flip, I think you can look up 3 letters, N, I, and L, and I think that explains some of that. But again, sometimes it's grades. Sometimes we ask kids to decommit. Sometimes we pull scholarships. In the bigger picture, is it good that we have kids who are saying they want to show up here and then don't show up here? Yes. Will we replace them with other players down the road? Yes. We just had Built by UCF night last weekend. How many of those guys were 4 or 5-star recruits, and yet they're legends for the university? It's really about getting the right fit, the right player. If these 2 weren't the right player, the right fit, they didn't want to be here. It sucks. They're obviously on paper seem very good, but I'm feeling we'll find somebody else and we'll plug them in, and we'll figure it out from there.
Concerned? No, I'm not going to concern myself over a 17, 18-year-old kid and what college they're going to. It's just, if you're worried about things like that, then I think you need to reevaluate some things, Todd. But no, it's not really that big of a deal. We're going to find replacements. These guys may turn out to be great. They may be injured and never play in college. Who the heck knows?
Sounds like Mike's got little dolls. At Zeebles, UCF saying, what's a fair expectation for recruiting moving forward? I think that's geared to you, Adam. And then what's UCF Mike's expectation, which may be different?
I mean, define fair? I think we have to be in that top half of the Big 12 recruiting class, in my opinion, right? I think you need to build depth. And one of the things you have to do is you have to stack class after class after class, right? You can't just have one class that's really good and then 2 that are terrible. You need to be able to build off class after class. So I think you need to be in that top half of recruiting for the Big 12. We're in the most talent-rich state in America in terms of college football players. We should be in that front half throughout our entire tenure. We feel good about the Gus bus. We got a lot of charismatic guys on our staff. Top half or bust for me.
We got to be the number 1, baby. We got to be the best in the conference. Look, we're in Florida. All these others, we just told you all the other cities that these schools are located in. Who wants to go to school in Ames, Iowa? Who wants to go to school in Lubbock, Texas, Waco, Texas, Stillwater, Oklahoma? Come to beautiful Orlando. We go to SeaWorld and we go to Disney World on the weekend. What are these guys doing?
Going to be hard for me to book guests from other shows and things with Mike trashing the cities. At UCF Realist, can we now conclude no player is for sure on the roster until they report to camp? I think we got to lose the word commitment and just say, they're intended they intend to come here? Because it's
I mean,
certainly not a commitment.
I mean, no players on the roster until they show up for every game, right? I mean, we've seen guys leave after 3 and 4 games and take transfers. Eric Gilliard, who obviously went to Kansas, actually, he played 4 and left. So I think each week, if the guy's on the roster, we have to assume, because I think at any point in time, you know, kids can decide for whatever reason they're going to sit, they're going to opt, they're going to do something different. So it's a whole new world, my friends. But certainly, as you think about recruiting, yes, I mean, I think you need to see kids literally sitting in classrooms before you feel good about it.
Yeah, like you said, even then, who the heck knows? I mean, they go a couple weeks without playing, and they may decide to transfer. So,
talk about a doomy question here, Brian W. Peterson. Any scenario you could envision where the Big 12 revokes its invitation for UCF? No scenario. No academic scandal, no athletic scandal, nothing. They're in.
It'd have to be involving Mike's question here. Sometimes crime is fun. That's the only thing I think that could happen that would take UCF out of the running. Some sort of fun crime.
Sometimes crime.
Yeah, they'd have to get involved in a really bad scandal like Miami, where they talk about the death penalty, or something like a Penn State kind of thing. And I don't think there's any of that stuff happening here.
At Nitro's Gus Bus, will we become running back you instead of wide receiver you, with Gus's emphasis on the run?
The potential's there for sure. I mean, obviously, Gus is going to prioritize running the football. We've got a stable of really good running backs. But again, we've got historically some really good wide receivers in the program. You're going to need a lot of years on top of each other of really stellar rushing performances before I would take that mantle away, with all due respect to Kevin Smith, who obviously set the bar really high. You know, the receivers, that they sort of go in mass from an NFL perspective. So potential's there, but you're going to need a few years in a row of making really consistent plays.
You know what I'd love to see is the offensive linemen really becoming O-line you, because then that will improve the entire offense. Like, there's teams in the Big 12, Iowa State. These guys, when you're looking for an offensive lineman, where are they coming from? Nebraska, Iowa State, those big guys, Wisconsin, those types of schools. If we can start building like that, plus the Malzahn run game, we could be a deadly force.
At E.T. Johnson Force, schools like Virginia and Texas reaching license deals to allow players to use school logos and trademarks, which is interesting in those NIL partnerships. Any word if UCF will? I have not heard that. I think it's a good question for Timo next time we have opportunity to talk with him.
It also may be, and I don't know the rules specifically, it also may be part of the state statute that governs NIL in Florida. There could be something within that language that doesn't allow that to take place. So I'd have to research that further. But I don't. Timo doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would leave money on the table if there was easy money to be had, and or Gus doesn't sound like the kind of coach who would leave an opportunity to get additional recruits here if he could figure out a way to make that happen. So my suspicion is maybe there's something in the NIL language in the state of Florida that prohibits that. Just a guess.
Mike, all night with 4Ls saying new look for uniforms. Do you think they wait till they move to the Big 12 to debut those, or are we getting them this fall?
Yeah, they may wait. I mean, when we opened up the new stadium in 2007, that's when they rebranded themselves. They went away from Golden Knights, went just a Knights, came out with a different style uniform. I think you may see a big transition like that when we head into the Big 12, a little more splash heading in. So I wouldn't be surprised if they waited another year.
Go Knights _Paul J. Vegas books have us at 8.5 wins, going over or under. And Mike, you're going to say undefeated, right?
8.5. That means we're going to lose 4 games to lose that bet. Which 4 games? I mean, we're going to lose, maybe. I'm going to predict us to win every game. But if we lose 1, 2, 3, we're going to lose 4 games on this schedule. If that's the case, hot seat time.
Vegas knows hot seat time. Stop. You just gave Gus Malzahn $10 million on Monday's show.
Not if he loses 4 games this year. Navy again.
All going in on volleyball. Todd Dagenais getting it all. Mike's full plug. At 4 seems a stretch, though, but Vegas knows its stuff, right?
I think you take the over. I think 9 games, 10 games is in that wheelhouse. This feels like free money because a lot of our tougher games are at home, where obviously we play better. Obviously Cincinnati coming to the FBC Mortgage Stadium now. We'll see what that's like. Obviously Louisville coming into town, so a lot of our tougher games are at home. So I think you take the over on this one. I mean, we got 6 home games right there, and so over easy.
And 2 other games in the state, FAU and the Cows. I mean,
have you gotten out of that weekend yet so we can have the big party?
No, it's not looking good for us, guys.
Let's keep tabs on that. Over under on that. At Spursy night, what do you think the schedule is going to look like in the Big 12? So we have a good feeling that it's going to be 4 home conference, 5 road. You think we get an Oklahoma or a Texas? Maybe bring Texas back to the bounce house first time since the stadium opener?
I hope so. I mean, I'd love to see us get one of them before they exit stage left. I'm really curious to see how both these conferences, react to this. Right now, for us, this is a lame duck year for UCF. For both Texas and Oklahoma, it'll be lame duck years for them unless the SEC can figure out a way to get them out early. So, do they get sort of the not so subtle short end of the stick? Are they roadies to UCF as part of, and BYU as part of their exit strategy? So I think we probably get one of these two. But I suspect it'll be 4 or 5. It depends on how they want to do this, right? Do they want to do pods? Are they going to do just, straight up, you play everybody, conferences? It depends how they want to divvy that up in terms of what that'll look like. If they do pods, though, I don't know how I feel about that because they're going to define our rivals. I don't like that idea. I don't like that strategy. So it really depends.
I think UCF will see Cincinnati. They'll see Houston. They'll see West Virginia in that first season. Mike?
Yeah, I don't anticipate us seeing Texas and Oklahoma at home that first year. Maybe a second year, but I'm still not convinced that those schools are going to be around for the second year. I know that everybody's saying, yeah, they're not getting out until 2025. I don't believe that. Let's talk about that this time next year.
Mike answered this next one on Twitter himself. Maybe he'll repeat that answer here at UCF. Gus Malzahn, Mikey Keene spoke at UCF's freshman orientation. What advice would you guys give if you had opportunity to speak at freshman orientation? Mike, what was it that you said on Twitter?
Use a condom?
Have you changed your advice to the freshman class?
That's very good advice.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not. I would say, in a serious note, really think about your course of study, your major, whatever career you want to go to, because you may be in that career for the next 15, 20, 30 years. So really think about what you want to do and study something you really love.
At WP Rel Brock 4 with a tough, hard-hitting question. Do you pour your cereal, then your milk, or your milk, then your cereal? Is this like the shoe sock thing you guys debate from time to time?
If anyone among you put the milk in first, please identify yourselves, because I assume that you're some sort of a psychopathic killer. There's no reason to put the milk in first.
On the second, whatever leftover milk, then you throw a little more cereal.
Yes, but you don't go thing of milk and then dump the Frosted Flakes on top. No, Frosted Flakes go. You drizzle the milk on top. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, this is one time we actually all agree. I put the cereal in first, and then you put the. Now, how do you know how much milk to put in unless you see how much cereal's in there?
That's a great question.
And that's a good question. At Nightfan 94, favorite ice cream flavor, toppings, pro or against, and then Nightfan 94 says, Soul, answering the hard-hitting questions the other podcasts are scared of. I like that.
I'm not much of an ice cream. Not much of an ice cream guy.
Really?
I don't hate it, but it's not something I need all the time.
Gelato?
I'm gonna go ice cream.
Gelato guy?
No, I'm not any of that family. Gelato, sherbet.
Broke?
That's just not in my lane. If I'm gonna go ice cream though, give me like a cookies and cream of some sort. I think Cold Stone used to have some sort of a double chocolate brownie situation. Always on that delectable. Toppings, I'm not much of a topping guy either. I don't need rainbow sprinkles. I'm not 7, so I don't need much toppings from an ice cream standpoint. I do like a good waffle cone though.
I love ice cream. I love gelato. I love Italian ice. I love all that stuff. I prefer it to cake any day of the week. I'd rather have the ice cream. I've been getting into pistachio.
Adam like that. Prefers it to cake on the bottom of the screen. Prefers it to cake.
And now you threw off what I was going to say. Pistachio. Yeah. My go-to if I order ice cream or I get ice cream from the store, those Ben & Jerry's, I go with the Tonight dough, and it's got some cookie dough in there, some brownie stuff, some chocolate, all kinds of stuff. I'll take it all.
Put me down for cookie dough like the chocolate syrup. You know who doesn't like sprinkles? Mike Kruzek, a throwback guest on Suns number 184. By the way, towards the end of the interview, he said it was his honor to be on the show. It really hit me because I never think of it that way week in and week out with the two of you.
Well, it's not a throwback if you haven't heard it, so it's still a fantastic conversation. Obviously, a lot of talk these past couple of weeks about legends of UCF and some of the past historical stuff. Kruzek spent so many years at UCF as an assistant prior to becoming a head coach, so good chance to kind of bring that back, unearth it from the lost files of the interwebs. Again, legendary coach for UCF. So if you haven't heard that one before, or even if you have, check it out again. Available anywhere you get your podcast type of material.
I don't want to start any controversies early. We may do a top 5 coaches list one day, and you guys can all decide.
Wow.
Coach Kruzek in, out. It's for a later date. People are still wound up about the quarterback thing this week. I'm sure we're going to be hitting people with a bunch of other top 5 lists over the next few weeks. We have 10 weeks from right now before we kick off the season.
70 days. That's
Kruzek
right.
not in, Mike. I mean, I'm doing the math here. I mean,
Did you say not in the top 5?
How is he not in?
He was or he wasn't. I didn't say he was or he wasn't. But check the list I sent you the other day. There's questions. You never know. Depends on how you look at it.
All right, you other podcasts watching right now, prepare to fight amongst each other when that list comes out. Heard from Anthony Roberson during the show. Thanks for having us. We appreciate the platform. We wish Anthony and Jordan all the best with One Kid Orlando. We appreciate David from SB Nation talking Kansas with us, the Chamber of Commerce rollout to Lawrence, Kansas, and we hope to continue the Big 12 series next week. I'll try and do a little more research and get the crime stats because I know that interests Mike when he looks to visiting a city. So we'll try and get that for you. We appreciate you watching, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I saw the alert on my phone that those interviews with Ryan O'Keefe and Dylan's mom about the adoption ceremony today are now available on the YouTube channel. And then, of course, be sure to look for these lists that are coming out. These aren't, they're on Instagram too, right? How are we doing with the Instagram? Are we getting some subscriptions and follows on that?
Yeah, people seem to be enjoying it. I think a lot of the same content that we have on Twitter, we have on IG, so it's coming similar. But we got some good comments. I saw you were on there, Trace, voting for your own list, Mike. I think this is clearly against the rules. I know we didn't establish this.
I think that's a rule. Even
that's
for Trace's standards, yeah, that's a little bit.
Yeah,
Mike, I didn't see. Did you do anything more this week? Did you?
Hold on, Trace. Here you go.
Did you jump rope? Yeah, Mike. Did you jump rope? Did you do anything on?
I have not. No,
You've abandoned it already after 1 week.
It's been a week. Yeah, well, 2 weeks I think it was. But yeah, I'll see if I can cook something up for this weekend. We'll see. And yeah, I would never vote for myself. I mean, that's just
To be fair, Mike, your wife voted for you, and my daughter voted for you, which is unfortunate.
Well, see, that's all me.
But it seemed most of Twitter liked my list better than yours.
Right? Is that a good thing, really? I mean, look who the people you're signing.
Wow. Wow, bashing the fans is the thing the other podcasts do. So let's not start that here on the Sons of UCF. Guys, thanks so much. We appreciate all of you, Knight Nation, for tuning into the Sons of UCF Live. For Adam and Mike, I'm Trace Rocco. Go Knights!